Hello, hello. How you guys doing tonight? Tonight I'm going to be, as the title says, drawing Bossk from Star Wars. Doing some more bounty hunters. I gotta do the rest of them. I've done 2 so far. So yeah, gonna start off with doing like a little warm up of him, straight to ink. If you don't know who he is, he's one of the bounty hunters from Empire Strikes Back that like kind of hangs out in the background. He's a lizard-headed guy. So I'm gonna be drawing him. And I'll probably sketch him too on a larger piece of paper because I gotta do a larger piece of him as well. But this is just gonna be like a warm up. Just trying to get the feel for him, get the pen moving on paper, that kind of thing. He's got this like really cool scaled head. So I'll probably, I don't know, gotta think about how much detail I'm gonna put in. Probably not too much, especially not for this little warm-up. I figured it'd be fitting because I drew a lizard-headed guy earlier, so I might as well just be drawing lizard guys today. He's got like squid eyes. It's like the sideways slit. Just trying to keep it loose. I don't want to spend a lot of time on this, I'm just warming up. I'm already probably spending too much time on his head here. Not trying to spend too much time. I know I keep saying that, but like saying it out loud helps me like keep moving, like keep reminding myself that I don't want to spend too long on this. And like his design is, as with a lot of the early like Star Wars characters, especially the ones with big suits, it's like kind of stiff. So I'm trying as I draw him to think about like how I can draw him and like loosen up a little bit, like loosen up his design and not make him look as stiff. Which means like I'm going to be changing him a little bit. Like I'll probably give him, like I'm thinking I'm going to give him like a longer neck. I'm going to do almost like a really mild like redesign on him. I like his suit. I like, he's got kind of like a pseudo space suit on, which is really cool. Cool looking. Lots of straps and room for pouches and stuff. If anything, I'll just add pouches to him. I like his suit. I probably won't do too much change for the costume, but I don't know. I might just honestly like just lengthen his neck, because I think lengthening his neck will give him like almost like a raptor kind of, like a velociraptor kind of neck. Give him some cool, still like reptilian characteristics, but like a little bit different. Kind of make him, I don't know, seem a little bit more organic. Because like the whole lizard man thing's cool, but like I kind of want to push it away from human proportions, because he's very human-like proportions in the movie. And I'm drawing in a custom sketchbook that was gifted to me by another artist, so I don't know. The paper is similar to watercolor paper, just a little bit thinner. I don't know exactly what it is, so sorry I can't answer that question. And yeah, I am drawing from reference right now. I actually pulled up one of the action figures of him. Oh yeah, I see the question about your address. I did. I made sure it was addressed to the right thing. I actually just sent them out the end of last week. But since yours is international, it's coming from the U.S., so it might take a little bit. Sometimes it takes a little while to process and like custom. So just keep an eye out. They said it could be, about 2 weeks. But yeah, I did get your email and I addressed it correctly. So, and thanks for checking. I should have emailed you back, but it kind of slipped my mind. So I apologize for that. His hands are super weird, and I'm drawing like super stubby right now. So let's just like pretend I didn't do that and bring him out here a little bit. And I'm thinking about like when I draw in like the full thing, I probably won't draw every single scale because that would make for a lot of lines. I'll probably just kind of hint at it when I draw it. Also, the reference I'm using is an action figure, so it's like not the greatest reference, but it's like some of the best reference I could find. At least for like his costume and everything. That wasn't like a semi-blurry pic from the original movies. And yeah, when I'm drawing from reference, I try to not just like straight up copy it. I do try to kind of make it my own. It's you want to like flirt with the reference, as some artists say, like flirt with the reference, but don't commit to it fully. Like use the reference, like maybe draw the pose similar, but more use it to inspire you rather than to like actually guide your drawing. Take bits and pieces that you like without just straight up drawing the same thing. Totally fine to use reference. It's I think it's something that like a lot of people debate. And purists may say that like don't use reference, and for the most part I don't like to use reference, but if it's something like this, like an established character, I don't like to use reference for a lot of my own stuff. The reference I use for my own stuff, maybe if I want to draw like a motorcycle or something that's like really technically detailed that I'm not really familiar with, then I'll use reference. But for the most part, I like to draw without it. However, when drawing something established that you want to be somewhat accurate and recognizable, it's good to look at the reference to see, what makes that character recognizable. So I'm looking at like key elements of his costume, his facial structure and stuff like that. Because like I've seen the Star Wars movies plenty of times, but if I was just drawing it from memory, somebody might say, "Oh, that looks kind of like Bossk," when I want them to be like, "Oh, that's Bossk," So but it's really like up to you too. If you don't like to use reference, then don't use reference. It's not cheating. There's no such thing as cheating in art. Unless you're tracing somebody else's stuff, then that's just kind of like stealing. But yeah, I mean, a lot of my teachers when I was in art school used to say that, like, there's no such thing as cheating. And I'm doing these for a series that will be in a gallery, so I'm doing all of the bounty hunters from Empire Strikes Back. I've already done Zuckuss and IG-88, and I will also be doing the rest of them. I know obviously Boba Fett and Forlom. I don't know the name of the dude that's got like a turban. He's got like a turban type thing going on. I don't know his name. But yeah, I'll be drawing all those guys. And, Boba Fett is super like familiar and iconic, so I'm probably gonna save him for last. But yeah, so hello. Yeah, drawing guns is something you kind of just like. That's something I learned to do by looking at a lot of reference. I used to look at a lot of like books about like military tactics and stuff to get like stances and poses, and that's where I learned about like trigger discipline and stuff, and like how to properly carry a firearm when you're not intending to use it, stuff like that, because all that stuff is like fun details to include that people will notice. Yeah, that's all freehand here. I mean, this is pretty much just like a pretty basic sketch. But yeah, I'm gonna get a bigger piece of paper and kind of like start sketching it out. But yeah, anything that and you don't have to get a book. You can look online for that kind of stuff. Anything you're not familiar with, like, don't hesitate to use reference. Just don't straight up copy it. You know, you can take bits and pieces from it, but you wanna invent it to a certain degree as well. Make it your own. You know, if you're drawing a lot of like architecture or something for a project or a comic, then look at architecture while you're drawing. You know, don't copy the exact same buildings, but like, look at a building and like, oh, I like that door. Put that door on. Or like, I like the balcony from that one. Put the balcony on. And like, look at like different window styles and stuff until you get familiar enough with this kind of thing to be able to, like create it on your own, drawing from the reference that you've seen over the years. It's kind of like building a database in your head. I'm going to raise the camera up really quick. I'm sorry if it's a little noisy. I'm not going to be able to get the whole sheet of paper because I still want to be able to like see the screen. It's next to me on a tripod. But I'll try to draw in frame as much as I can. Let's see if I can get this lighting a little better too. It's looking a little dark here. But I'm also in a fairly dark room. Actually, let me turn the lamp on behind me so you get a little bit more ambient light. I don't know if that made a ton of difference, but we'll go with it. I hope you guys are all having a good day, good night. Yeah, thanks for stopping by. And I had this idea for him a while ago to draw him like eating something. I don't know why. Just because I thought it would be an interesting drawing of him. He seems like the guy that would be like chomping on something while he's like waiting for a bounty assignment or something, like a alien salad wrap or something like that. Like maybe full of like insects and weird stuff. So I think I'm gonna do that. So yeah, let's kind of just like jump in, like have him like casually eating something, like kind of like looking off to the side as he's like eating a space burrito or something like that. And kind of just keep it loose, like get the general shape in here. He's got a super weird shaped head, so I'm going to come in like take it out a little bit. And then I'm going to stretch his neck out some. Somebody asked if I like sketching in pen or pencil. It depends on what I'm doing. If I'm sketching over a large piece that I'm going to ink over, then like right now, pencil is going to be the way to go. But for like quick sketching and doing warm-ups, I do like to sketch in pen quite a bit. Just because like the sense of like permanence and like I can't go back and like fiddle with it a whole bunch. So I don't spend a lot of time if I just want to do a warm-up. Is a pretty good practice, I think. You kind of like just have to get it on paper and not think too much about it, and you don't have the option to like change it 1,000 times to make it look just the way you want. You kind of have to like adapt as you go, which I like. It's kind of like high pressure drawing, but I like it. But I like both just as well. I try to sketch in pencil regularly too, and not just do pen, because I do enjoy pencil a lot. Sometimes it's just not practical for the kind of style I want to evoke. And his head is getting kind of crazy here. But I'm trying to make it a little bit different. I'll probably need to bring his chin in quite a bit. Yeah, that's pretty good. I don't know why I pictured him this way. It's just like, I don't know, like this vibe I get from the character, like he'd just be chilling out eating something. And I'm just looking at, I am looking at a reference right now for those of you who asked. Just mostly for his costume, because his costume's kind of got a lot of details to it. But I'm really just taking, like, this is about as much detail as I'm going to put in. Kind of like mark out where all the major shapes are, and then kind of just, you know, improvise it as I go. So once I actually start inking it, though, I won't be looking at reference. And I do that because, like, I like to get it, when I'm drawing a character that's established, I like to get it somewhat accurate in the sketch, and then when I go to do the ink, I like it to be a lot more spontaneous, so I kind of have an idea of where everything goes, but I kind of have to make it up as I go a little bit, which is how I like to draw. Makes things feel like more natural to me. And somebody suggested that he be eating some sort of like soup, so I'm gonna have him holding a bowl of soup with, like, you know, some chopsticks or something like that. Oh, I didn't toss it. It's just right here. It was just a warm up, the freehand. And thank you. It was just a warm up to kind of, because I've never drawn him before, ever in my life. So I wanted to kind of just, you know, do like a small exploration of him as a character. And so that freehand was just kind of like to get the feeling. And it's also a lot smaller. So this is, like I said, for going to be going in a gallery, so it's quite a bit bigger. Because that was just in a little, like, I don't know what size that sketchbook is. This is in a small sketchbook, and then this is a 9x12 piece of paper. And the lizard eyes, pretty cool character. I've always really liked his design. I had action figures of him when I was a kid. I'm just getting it in super vague shapes, you know, kind of like wrinkles here and there. He's got a belt going on here. I'm gonna have his gun like strapped over his back, because he's eating. The bounty hunter's gotta eat, you know. But also, you know, there's a million fan art drawings and images of this guy, like, you know, holding his gun in like a cool pose, and like that's awesome. That's, you know, it's pretty safe though. It's pretty safe for this guy. So I wanted to do something a little bit different. Also because, like, the first one I did of Zuckus was like, you know, basically him just like standing there holding a gun. So I didn't want to, if I'm drawing, you know, 6 different bounty hunters, I don't want them all to be just standing holding a gun, you know. Got to get some variation in there. Get in there and mix it up a little bit. And these guys can't be all business all the time. You know, do a lot of standing around looking mean, take a break, eat some soup, then get back on the job to standing around looking mean. It's the bounty hunter life. So yeah, I mean, just, you know, not spend a lot of time. I think it's a good idea not to spend a ton of time on the rough sketch either. Just because you wanna spend more time making the inks look really nice. And, like, you know, spending time making your sketch look nice is all well and good, but, you know, if you're gonna ink over it, you're not gonna see the sketch. So it's better to spend time on what you do see rather than what you don't see. And kind of just, instead of drawing out every little tiny detail, kind of just memorize it. Like, you know, think about it. Like I did that little warm-up sketch that kind of got some of the details in my head, and doing this, you know, while looking at references, I'm getting the details in my head so that when it comes time to actually execute it, those details are still there. But I make it my own. Yeah, I used to spend way too much time on my sketches too, and sometimes I still do. It depends on what it is. But I think that's something that you kind of it's something that develops slowly as you go. If you want to try to spend less time on your sketches, it's all about practice. And like a lot of artists I've seen say like spend more time when you are drawing from reference or you're drawing from life. Spend more time looking at your subject than you do on the paper. So like I'm honestly like most of the time while I'm drawing this, I'm looking at the reference while drawing on the paper, kind of thinking about the shapes and memorizing the shapes in my head, because as soon as I start inking this in a second here, I'm going to start inking it. I don't know if I'll finish it tonight, but I want to have those ideas fresh in my head and not have to like, wait, what did that, look away and be like, wait, what did that look like again? And keep doing that, because then I fear the drawing will turn out stiffer than I want it to. I honestly may not have enough time to get the inking done, but I'll do at least like the basic outline. And then maybe, I'm not going to be able to do shading tonight, I just don't have time. Because I do have other stuff that I have to get to off stream. But I'll do another stream where I shade it. I'll try to get most of the line work done tonight. I'm actually going to do something different. The other ones, I think each 2 drawings I'm going to use a different medium. So the last 2 ones I used like fountain pens for the inking. And I'm probably going to do ballpoint for this one. Just because I feel like it. Can't draw with the same thing all the time. I kind of lose my mind if I do. Like I spent the last 2 weeks like drawing all with fountain pens, and I think I'll probably spend the next couple weeks drawing all with ballpoint. It's kind of how I work. I can't like stay doing one thing for very long. I gotta keep it fresh. And so I'm going to be moving the paper around a lot, so I'm actually going to lower the camera, and sorry again for the shakiness and the noise, but just so you can see it closer, and I'll try as hard as I can to keep the drawing in the frame, mostly because I want you guys to be able to see the ink, and also because when I ink something big like this, I need to move the paper around a lot to get at different angles. One jar of ink, which costs about $25 for the Sailor ink that I get, sometimes 24, usually around $20 or $24, and it's that expensive because I have to ship it, so a lot of that is shipping. I mean, it's hard to say exactly how many refills. A lot, like it's like a 50 milliliter bottle, I think, and like most of the refills on the pen are like a milliliter or half a milliliter, so it'll last you a really long time. Especially if you dilute it a little bit. A lot of people like to use like just like a tiny bit of water when they fill their pens, like just add a couple drops of water. Kind of makes the ink flow a little bit better. So if you do that, it'll last even longer. It's definitely worth it. I know like $20 or more seems like a lot for ink, but it'll last you a really long time. It's not something that runs out really quickly. Like I think, and I refill my pens when I'm drawing with fountain pens regularly. I sometimes fill them like every day, and it'll at least once a day or every other day, and sometimes they still last me. The bottle will still last me over a month, and that's pretty good for me. Definitely nothing wrong with diluting it, You can customize your tools to work for you. There's nothing wrong with experimenting. And I'll probably do, with this guy, I'll do scale details in, like, really interesting areas that I want you to spend I want the eye to spend time on, like his eyebrows here. See, I'm doing, like, those little scales there. But I won't do that everywhere. Other places I'll probably just hint towards them, like using little lines like this. And somebody did ask me about watercolors earlier, and I do want to talk about that a little bit. I don't really use watercolors all that often, but when I do use them, I like to use the dry watercolors that come in like little pans. I like Winsor and Newton ones. They're pretty expensive, but they're really nice and come with a lot of really good colors in those little like portable case, which is really nice. And I wouldn't consider myself, I'm still learning watercolors every time I use them, because they're such an interesting medium and like so versatile, and you can do so much with them. But I've learned that like the coolest way to create texture with watercolor is to use a lot of water, and so you get like the Cotman ones, Cotman watercolors, and use a lot of water so that when you lay down the paint and it dries, you get a lot of like really cool textures with the water. And other than that, like my biggest tip is to like always have paper towel on hand. So if you want to like pull some of the color out, or like if you lay on a lot of water, maybe too much and you want to dab some of it up, so always have paper towel. And I used to do a lot more watercoloring in the past, and I still do it, just not as often because it's really time consuming. That's one thing about watercolors, especially when I do it. It's like I spend a ton of time on it. And I was like watercoloring comics and stuff, and just taking forever. And so I kind of like stopped using them for daily use, just because of the amount of time they take. But I still use them for like bigger projects and stuff. But yeah, I'm still learning a lot. Always keep a paper towel. Always bring a towel. You regret it if you don't. And like layering with watercolors, I think, is key too. So you can get a lot of interesting textures by layering with one color, to kind of get like a general feel for the piece, and then coloring on top of that. So if you use like a light brown or something like that to kind of like color in some of the shadow areas when you watercolor, and then do like the full colors on top of it, like everything kind of has like a unified feel. So I've been exploring that a lot more too. And no, I don't do art full time. It's definitely less than part time even. I'm a stay-at-home dad during the day, and I draw at night. So it's basically just like a supplemental income for my family. It helps pay the bills, buy gas and groceries. But it's by no means like a primary income. Because my son is young, and we would be losing money if we paid for him to be in daycare. So it's better for me to make a little money on the side and be home with him during the day. Plus, in general, like I want to be the one raising my son. Like I don't want someone else in a daycare raising him. I did talk about that earlier. What somebody's commenting about was like getting your first 1,000 followers. And there's no like easy way to do it. Pretty much the only way to do it is like get your stuff out there. But what I was talking about is that like getting your first 1,000 followers is like a key. Like that should be your goal if you're just starting out. And you're like, putting yourself online and getting it out there for people to see. Like, if you do that, people will come. What I did, and it took me a long time to get my first 1,000 followers. Try to post something every day, or twice a day if you're able. It can just be sketches, it doesn't have to be anything big. Do, like, Inktober is coming up, like, do that. Look for the events that, like, have hashtags associated with them and stuff, because then more eyes will see your stuff because people are searching for those hashtags, and those hashtags trend, so your work gets seen more on like suggested lists and stuff like that. So if you're starting out, like go find the daily sketch themes that have hashtags, or do the Inktober that has hashtags, and that'll help get some eyes on your work, get your stuff out there. But that should be like your goal, because once you have your first 1,000 followers, then your stuff starts showing up more in like the suggested followers list and stuff like that. So more people will see it, and it'll honestly be like, slow, super slow process, like drops in the bucket, But you'll get there. But you just gotta get your stuff out there. And yeah, I know, like motivation can be hard, especially people that like work during the day and then want to pursue art when they come home, and you're just tired and stuff. Just you got to make it a habit. And like people, like I'm tired after a day of caring for my son and running around with him and stuff like that. And it's like I make a lot of sacrifices. It may not, you may not think it's like as difficult or as intensive as like a day job or something like that, or a part-time or a full-time job, but you got to make those sacrifices regardless. Like I work late at night, so I sacrifice sleep. I'm sorry for bumping the camera there. And you just gotta you gotta understand that it's not gonna be easy, but if you want it bad enough, you make time to do it. And yeah, you can make it like a relaxing thing. You don't have to stress yourself out and make yourself feel like you have to produce a certain amount or anything like that. You totally don't. It's best to just enjoy it. Like make art something you enjoy, not something that stresses you out. And I was getting pretty stressed out about my work before this weekend actually, and then we planned to go out of town. So I said, you know what, I'm not gonna worry about art at all this weekend. I'm just gonna enjoy myself and kick back. And sometimes that's what you need, to kind of distance yourself from it. But one of the most useful things I think I've done is making it a habit. I have a specific time that I work, and I don't do anything else during that time. So I know what time I'm going to work. I work during that time, and then that's it. If you make it a habit, it'll be a lot easier for you to get into it. I know the habits can be hard to start, but you just got to do it. Honestly, if it's just something the time that I'm on the toilet taking a dump, instead of fiddling on your smartphone or playing a Game Boy or whatever, you could be drawing. That may sound gross or weird or whatever, but you can find time. You just got to make it. And you can't wait around for it just to happen, or for that spark to come to you. You kind of have to force it to a certain extent. And procrastination is a big thing too. A lot of people procrastinate. I'm certainly a procrastinator. But the more you work at it, and the more you try, the more it'll come to you. Because I feel like a lot of people say, and I used to do this a lot too. They're like, oh, I'm not feeling inspired. I can't sit down and draw if I'm not feeling inspired. If you sit around waiting for the inspiration to come, it's never going to come. And I'll pretty much tell you that right now. That you just have to do it. Listen to Shia LaBeouf. Just do it, man. As much as I say, you shouldn't feel guilty about not drawing, any time that you're not drawing is time that you're not drawing. Any time that you're not drawing is time that you're not improving. So if you want to improve and worry how can I improve? Sit down and draw and put the hours in. That's how you improve. There's no other way. And yeah, somebody mentioned looking at other artists. Look at a lot of other artists. If you're not feeling particularly inspired, just go on Pinterest and find a cool picture and just draw that from reference. You don't have to come up with this, some amazing original idea every time you draw. Sometimes just sitting down and drawing a tree is good enough. But as you're drawing, that's good. That's the goal. And past that, Yeah, Pinterest is great. Pinterest is really great. I go when I'm feeling uninspired, or like a lot of times when I'm sitting on the toilet, I look at Pinterest and look for stuff that I want to draw later and save it. I'm like, oh, that's a cool motorcycle. I'm gonna draw that motorcycle sometime. And then when I want to sit down and draw a sketch of like a girl on a motorcycle or something, I'll pull up that motorcycle that I found. Like I invested that time that I could have been doing something else. You know, basically finding a reference to draw, so I wasn't cutting into my drawing time by finding a reference. If that does that make sense? Like, I don't know. And yeah, if you feel like you need to practice drawing motorcycles, that's easy. Like, you don't need any inspiration from that. Just pull up a photo and start drawing motorcycles. Like, it doesn't have to be this, you know, like romantic, magical thing all the time. Like sometimes you just gotta do it. And like I've been doing that a lot lately. It may not seem like it, you know, outside, but like I said, like all last week I was like super stressed with my art, and honestly, like getting on the stream and drawing on the stream helped me a lot. I said like, all right, I don't know what I'm gonna draw, but I'm gonna get on the stream and see how it goes, you know, and like that got me drawing. And yeah, you know, like, oh yeah, thanks for stopping by. Good night, sweet dreams, and all that. I forgot what I was saying. Thanks. I'm glad I can inspire you. And, you know, if that's what you need to be inspired, you know, and that's what it is. Like you gotta. Oh yeah. I mean, it's not. My way isn't gonna work for everybody, and nor am I saying that it's the correct way to do things. But you know, hopefully it'll like get you started in a direction, even if it's not the right direction. You know, sometimes like trying something that somebody suggests to you and finding out that you don't like it is just as helpful as finding something that you do like. It's like maybe for you, like your way of like getting inspired or you know getting ready to draw by warming up is like putting on your favorite movie or anime and like drawing stuff from that. I can guarantee you, nearly guarantee you, that if you can just get your pen on paper and start drawing, then you're gonna want to keep drawing. Like if you draw, you know, like start by drawing your favorite character from your TV show. Like don't feel that like you're looking at the blank sheet of paper and like you have to come up with something amazing, because that's like way too much pressure. But if you can like start by drawing something that's like already been done, so you don't feel the pressure of designing, or drawing something that's like low pressure, like something that you're comfortable with, or drawing something from a photo, like I said, you know, it's the same thing. It's like already been designed, so you don't have to stress about designing anything. That will give you the fuel to do more complex stuff. That'll give you the inspirational fuel to design something. If you draw a motorcycle and like, oh, that was really had a lot of fun drawing that motorcycle, and now I'm going to draw a robot inspired by some of those motorcycle parts. Like that's the kind of fuel you want to give yourself. Because like once you get into it, you know, it's like that's what you want. You need to just get yourself started. Because once you get yourself started, that's the hardest part. And once you're started, then you can keep going, keep drawing. And like if you're distracted easily, eliminate your distractions. You know, if you like have the TV on while you're drawing and you find yourself looking at the TV more often than you're looking at the paper drawing, turn the TV off. Put on some music instead. Or if you keep looking at your phone, like turn your phone off, or put it in the other room or something, or put it on silent and turn it face down so you're not looking at it. Like you gotta eliminate that stuff, or else it's just gonna keep distracting you. And like the only person that's gonna do it is you. You gotta keep that in mind. Like you can't wait for things. I mean, I feel like it's just in general, you know, like with life, but with drawing especially, like you can't just wait for it to happen. You gotta make it happen. I hope I'm making sense. Because like I want you guys to succeed. Like we're all artists. Like we're in this together. It's good to help each other out. And I hope that I'm helping you, or at least giving you some food for thought. At the very least. Because I know this is all stuff that I've struggled with. So maybe just sharing the stuff that I've learned over time will help you guys save a little bit of time, or save a little bit of frustration or something. Because like believe me, it's not all like rainbows and lollipops and stuff like that. That sounds pretty great, but just because I do this semi-professionally, and even that is like kind of a stretch, doesn't mean that I'm always motivated and I'm always doing well and stuff like that. I get frustrated too, quite often actually. I think it's just part of it. But it's just part of being an artist. But like learning to deal with your frustrations and deal with the stuff that's difficult for you, like that's key. And like I used to have an issue with distractions too. Like I would, be watching TV shows that I haven't seen before while I'm trying to draw. And so obviously I'm looking up from my page like quite often to watch the TV show. And I found that I was like, just not getting a lot done while I was watching those shows. I could spend 2 hours and like barely get a sketch done because I was looking at the screen so often. And so I stopped doing that. Like I still watch shows that I haven't seen on occasion when I'm like warming up or something, but never when I'm like actually trying to work on a piece. Or if I'm doing like a cool down where I'm just like doodling, I'm not doing anything serious, then I'll watch TV or watch a movie. But not while I'm actually trying to get work done, because it just slows me down. So I started listening to more music and like watching stuff that I've seen before. Or even like watching like documentaries that like you don't really have to look up from, that are just a lot of talking. I hear podcasts are also really good for that, because it's just talking, like you have nothing to really look at. I imagine like audiobooks would be similar, because a lot of people prefer like a voice over like music, and that kind of like gets their brain moving. And it's all about finding what works for you, like I keep saying, like keep trying stuff. Don't assume that one thing is going to be correct or the best thing for you. Like always be trying new stuff. And that goes for like everything in art. That goes with drawing new things, trying new pens and pencils and papers and different tools and stuff like that. I always want to be trying new stuff, because that's how you learn and that's how you adapt. You do the same thing forever, even if it's good, you're just going to keep doing that same thing. But that's the greatest thing about art, is like there's no limit to what you can do. Even if you think like, oh, I'm really terrible at drawing cars, or I'm really terrible at drawing faces, that's only for right now. It's probably not even that bad. You probably just more than you're actually bad at drawing something, you probably just aren't drawing it as good as you want it to, or it's not up to your standards. And man, like you are your own worst critic, like that saying is totally true, and it's true for me also. Like I like really harshly criticize myself, but that's what keeps me that's what keeps me hungry. Every time I draw something that's not good, I'm hungry to draw something better. And like honestly, sometimes sitting down and like getting your frustrations out and like drawing a really shitty car will motivate you to draw a better car. If you think you're bad at hands, then practice hands. Draw 100 hands. I can guarantee you, the first hand and the 100th hand, you will see the improvement. And that's all it is. It's just time spent. But you have to focus on the stuff that you actually want to improve on, if you want to improve. Like if you're really great at drawing faces and you keep drawing faces, you'll just keep drawing great faces, but you will never get any better at hands. And there's nothing wrong with drawing great faces. I mean, if that's all you want, if that's the like maximum joy you get out of art, then just keep doing that. I mean, that's cool. You can draw faces. But if you're hungry for more and you want to improve at other stuff, then you got to draw other stuff. And like, I'm not trying to be like a hard ass or anything, but you just got to do it. It's like the most frustrating thing for me to hear is like, oh, I don't have time to draw. You do. You just got to make it. You just got to find it. And if it means you have to, sacrifice a half hour or an hour of sleep, then that's what you got to do. If it means that you take 5 minutes to draw while you're waiting for your coffee or tea to brew, instead of, checking Facebook or Twitter or whatever, then that's what you got to do. That's the sacrifice you got to make. And I learned that's applicable in so many ways. And this is going pretty well. So I like this right now. I'm enjoying this. Give you guys kind of a close up on some of that detail I'm doing there. I mean, if you look up a photo of this guy and like see how close the costume is. I mean, it's probably fairly close, but not exact. But I'm having fun drawing it. I'm not stressing too much about making it look perfect or exactly like the costume. But yeah, that frustration that you get from not being good at something or wanting to do better, that's what's going to help you get better. If you get frustrated, the worst thing you can do is quit. The worst thing you can ever do is quit. Because if I see a lot of people too, another thing that really frustrates me is I see like comments on social media of like other artists' work of people that say like, oh, like I give up, like I'll never be this good. And like that's totally not true. Like even if you aren't that good, like, right now, you'll get there with practice. You'll get there in time. You'll get where you want to be if you just keep trying. And I think a lot of people hate to hear that because, it implies that you're going to be doing a lot of hard work, and that's true. You're going to be doing a lot of hard work. Because that's what it takes. And if you give up, you will never be that good. That's true. I remember feeling that way, like, I would say it was probably like 2012, or late 2011, probably, where I was at a point with my work where I was just, like, not happy with it, and I remember feeling at one point, and, like, saying to myself, I can't do this, like, I'm not getting where I want to be fast enough, and I'm not that good, and I'm never going to be that good, and wanting to give up, and, like, I think I honestly did for a while, like, I kind of just, like, really stopped drawing, at least in any serious way. And eventually I got back into it, but I kind of look like that spark to create was like reignited by my sorry, I just had like a brain fart. My wife, well, she wasn't my wife at the time, but she encouraged me to keep drawing, and like had like seen some of my old artwork or something like that, and I was like, this is good, but I like never see you drawing, and she was the one who encouraged me and told me, that I should keep trying, and that kind of got me back on the wagon, so to speak. But it kind of took like a kick in the ass to get me going again, and I look back on that time now that I quit, and like I could have been using that time to improve, like that was time I lost. And that if I had been drawing that whole time, then I would be considerably better than what I am now, Not that I'm by any means bad now, but it's I could be better, and it's frustrating to think that it was almost a year, and probably a year and a half, almost 2 years that I wasn't really drawing all that much. And like I was drawing, casually like doodling on post-it notes and stuff, but like nothing serious. And I could have been using that time to get better. So the worst thing you can do is quit, because the time you're not drawing is time you're not improving. So don't quit, even if it means that you just, like take a break from, maybe pursuing like your serious project or something like that. Then do that. I feel like I've been yelling at you guys for like 45 minutes now. So, if you want to talk about something else, I'm all for it. I honestly don't really remember how long I quit. Somebody asked. It was probably close to a year. Somewhere around a year. Between, a year and a half that I quit drawing seriously. And yeah, like, if you look back at like some of your really really old drawings, like from your childhood and stuff, like that can give you like a crazy amount of inspiration too. Because just like kind of like taking a look inside your younger self, your mind when you were younger, can be like really eye-opening. Because the way your mind works as a kid is like so different. Because like regardless of how much you want to believe otherwise, you as an adult, you're heavily influenced by all the things around you, like media and commercials and all this stuff. And like when you're a kid, it's different. Like it's a little bit more like pure and uninhibited. And it's really interesting. It's kind of a hard thing to put your finger on. And honestly, like getting back into some of the stuff you used to draw when you were a lot younger can be really good. Like kind of like revisit some of that old stuff. I used to draw a lot of like crazy, like mutant monsters that were based off of like bugs and stuff when I was really little. And looking at some of that stuff like helped me with like it kind of like sparked ideas for designs now. It's like kind of like redrawing stuff that you drew when you were really little. Yeah, that's a long time to quit. Somebody mentioned that they quit in elementary school and like started drawing again in high school. That's a long time. But it's like I don't really know what to say about that. But like the time, I imagine that at that time you wouldn't have been seriously like trying to improve or anything like that. You probably would have just been drawing for fun, which I think is what a lot of kids do when they're younger. So it's good to focus on the time that you have that you want to like seriously improve and like have the time and the mental capacity and the drive to actually do it. But it doesn't limit you in any way. What's done is done. And if you want to get back into art, what's important is doing it now, not waiting. Because like I keep saying, like the time you're not drawing is time you're not drawing. I feel like I should just like chant that like a mantra like over and over until people get creeped out by me. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, I'm just rambling, but that's kind of just like my experience. Oh, sorry guys, I was drawing out of frame there. I'm just like finishing up his leg on this side anyway. Not trying to do anything super fancy. Let's see, I could draw like some noodles or something in here. Somebody mentioned like worms, I kind of like that. And do some like little wormy guys popping up out of there. Yeah, everything's all about willpower, I think. I feel like a lot of my adult life, like just, having willpower has like got me really far. Like helped me, quit smoking, and like that was just, like one day I was just like, I'm done. Like I gotta quit. I gotta do it. My wife hated it, and like I was feeling gross all the time, like spending too much money on it, and I was just like, I'm fed up. I'm gonna do it, and just having the willpower to keep that idea in my head was just what got me through. But like that with anything else, like you just gotta do it. Like don't make excuses and just do it. I'm finishing up here. Just drawing the end of his gun. I'm just gonna do a little like. Oh, thank you. Yeah, I'm pretty proud of. I don't think it's too much to be proud of myself for quitting smoking. And I quit like cold turkey too. I don't know why I was so stubborn, but I just had to do it. Like man, it was so hard, but I did it, and I'm much better off for it. Those little creepy lizard eyes. Yeah, he's pretty much done there. I'll probably add like some little, like just hints at scales here, just by doing some like little detail lines, like really nothing too much, but just to show there's like texture there, He's not like super smooth. I think like having the texture on his head is pretty good, and probably when I shade it, I'll do a little bit more like, kind of do some like dabs of, because I'll be doing ink wash, like dabs of ink where his scales will be to kind of texture him out a little bit. I think that's feeling pretty done right now. At least for now. May go in later and like add some drop shadows or something, but I'll probably reevaluate that when I'm going to shade it. Yeah, I feel pretty good about him. Oh, I forgot to do some of these too. Not full, but just to give the idea where they're at. Cool. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed watching me do that. Actually, it didn't take as long as I thought it was going to. I was trying to move a little bit quicker too, which I think I did. So I'll probably, maybe like tomorrow or sometime later this week, do the shading for him in ink wash. And if you miss any of the Periscope streams, I do post them on YouTube after I'm done. The one I did earlier today, sadly I won't be able to post on YouTube because it didn't save. Because of a little glitch with the app, but I think I've found a way to avoid it next time, so that it won't happen again. I'll take this opportunity to drop all my info. It's all the relevant links for my stuff. If you want to support me monthly, you can go to patreon.com/mjaraki. That's where you can find exclusive info about the comic book I'm developing and stuff, as well as I said, support me monthly and get rewarded for it. Gumroad.com/sharkbaby. That's my online store where you can find my one physical short comic that you can purchase, as well as like some other digital art books and stuff. And my YouTube channel is Merrick Jaraki. You should be able to find me there. And also, if you go to my Gumroad store and you want to buy something, if you type this in for the purchase code promotion, Periscopin, just like that, caps don't matter, and you can get $1 off any of my products there on Gumroad. So yeah, and I remembered looking at the little sketch I did that he had a little strap here that I actually really liked. So I'm going to draw that little strap. And Shark Baby is kind of an inside joke with my wife. Is it like a shark, a baby shark, like an infant shark, or is it like a human baby with a shark head? Kind of up for you to decide. And I'll do a little, gonna do a little cool down to end the stream. I'm gonna move the camera again. Sorry guys, I know that's probably like super annoying. Do a little like casual cool down, nothing fancy, just to kind of end the stream. No, I'm not gonna do watercolor. That's not very casual, unfortunately. Not for me anyway. And the paper I have right now is not great for it. I have larger paper that's really good for watercolor, but this stuff is kind of not as great for watercolor. So I'm not going to do it right now. But I will be doing, like I said, either tomorrow or later this week, I'll be doing ink wash, which is pretty similar to watercolor. I don't really have anything to watercolor anytime soon, so probably not going to be doing anything like that, any watercolor for a little bit, but I might do something if I'm not super busy at some point, just to show off some watercolor. They almost never. I think sorry, I keep bumping the camera, guys. I apologize. I've used acrylic like just a handful of times, and no matter how often I try it, I can't bring myself to like it. It's just something that I don't agree with. Just at a base level, like I'm not good at it. Because I focus too much on like line work, and it's really hard to do that with acrylic. I don't have the patience to do that with acrylic. And I've been wanting to draw like a super casual, like just really like robed character. I've seen a lot of this stuff lately, but I'm really trying to draw really spontaneously and without a lot of sketching. And it's been really difficult for me, but I'm dang it, like I'm trying really hard. So I want to do some like spontaneous, like really open stuff. So I think I'm gonna aim for like a really like poofy robed character with like some interesting elements like that, or maybe just like a cowl or something like that. I don't know. But that's kind of what I have in mind. I'm kind of gonna go kind of on the abstract end. At least that's what I want. And try to do a lot of like really like quick lines and not spend a lot of time. Because like I think like the key, at least for me, to drawing spontaneously is to kind of like not meditate for too long on one area, as I keep mentioning, and keep the pen moving. And like not really worry about how smooth or how nice a line is, and kind of just get it out there. And yeah, we'll toss some swords on there. That sounds good. That kind of goes with the aesthetic that I want right now. I can't give you watercolor, but I'll give you some swords. I hope that's good enough. Thanks. I try. Yeah, watercolor is just not like cool down material for me. It's not like really relaxing for me. And the idea of a cool down for me is to relax. At least a little bit. So yeah, just gonna keep it loose, keep it light. I think it's good for a cool down to just kind of do something that you want to do, and do something just really casual. No pressure, I think, is the key. Now I'm gonna do like maybe just some like light tacked on armor, like a leather shoulder pad. Yeah. Pretty familiar stuff that I draw pretty regularly. And I think something that I want to do and like should try to do more often with my work is like use larger shapes, because I kind of tend to move from like smaller line to smaller line in my stuff. And while that's fine, I'm trying to, and that's effective, I think, for my work. I'm trying to do some different stuff. Trying to, get out of my comfort zone a little bit. Maybe a lot of it. Kind of trying to fight my instincts a little bit. I don't think that's a bad idea. I think it's good to challenge what you know. I find myself also being someone that, if left to their own devices, will like try really hard to draw perfect anatomy, like no matter what style, and like try to make things proportionate. And while that's not a bad thing, that's actually a really good thing to do, even if you're drawing really stylized. It's not really like what I want right now, I guess. Like I kind of want to draw more stylized and more exaggerated. So I'm kind of like here, not trying to worry about whether the arms are like the proper length or anything like that, which is what I would normally do when I'm drawing. Even when I'm drawing, like I said, stylized and exaggerated figures. Just trying to push myself out of what I'm comfortable with as hard as I can. And like, I don't know what's going on with that hand, but like I'll make it look good as I go. And get some sword action in here. He's got a couple swords. Like, I don't care that sword looks like garbage. I'm just moving on. Normally I'd be upset that sword looked like garbage. I'm trying not to be. And like, I don't know what happened with that sword handle. Like, I kind of like forgot the angle I was drawing. Oh, it looks terrible. Oh, it looks terrible. This is actually like something I can white out though. So let's white out that. Never hesitate to use whiteout. There's nothing wrong with it. And like just because that it's still not like totally on, but it bothered me enough to want to change it. And just go over those lines like they never existed. There you go. Whiteout is definitely a must-have if you're drawing in pen. There's nothing wrong with using it. The greatest pen and ink artists have used it. My favorite pen and ink artist, Ashley Wood, has used it. Everybody knows Calvin and Hobbes. Bill Watterson used whiteout regularly on his original pages. There's nothing wrong with it. And let's see. I'm just thinking about what to do with his coat here. Normally I'd do something like tapered and interesting, but I'm just gonna cut it off at the waist and give him some, like, spindly legs or something. Maybe some, like, yeah, we'll start him out poofy and then go spindly. And yeah, Bill Watterson was one of my early inspirations as well. When I was really little, I was always trying to, like, copy Calvin and Hobbes comic strips. And I also think it probably taught me a lot about comics. So, maybe that wasn't too bad of a thing to do. I was also really little. Let's see here. I'm going to go in. I was using a Pilot Downforce ballpoint, but I'm going to go in with just like a regular bit because it's a little bit bigger, just to fill in this area, like really scribbly like. This is actually probably shaking the camera right now, so I apologize for that. And this is not something I would normally do, so I'm trying to do stuff that I wouldn't normally do. And this is like actually like really satisfying right now. It's really cathartic to like do stuff that you wouldn't normally do. It's kind of liberating in a sense, which might sound silly, but if all you draw on a regular basis is like perfectly anatomical figures, like get on the page and draw some like crazy exaggerated figures. It'll feel really nice, like freeing. And like that was something that, kind of like naturally happened with my comic book too, where I was drawing a lot of like human characters and just one day decided to like, like just out of the blue, like what if my characters were animals, like anthropomorphic animals, like how would I draw them? And drawing them in that way like was really satisfying and honestly probably led to it was a lot of the reason I draw so many anthropomorphic characters now. Nice thing, the beautiful thing about ballpoint and whiteout is that ballpoint goes right over whiteout without skipping a beat. So I don't know. I'm not gonna like super try hard on his feet. He's got little tiny feet, but draw some like straps hanging down. Straps are always cool. Yeah, so he's kind of goofy looking, but he was fun to draw. So that was the objective. Where's my pen? I'm just going to do the edge of his coat here too. Oh yeah. Whatever, man. It was fun. Pretty goofy looking, but I liked it. So, successful, I think. So yeah, I encourage you guys to get out there and try new things and experiment, because it is really good for you. It's really good for your development. Because you try something new and you might like it. And if you try something you don't like, then you don't waste time trying that thing anymore. You know what I mean? So yeah, try something new this week if you do anything. And yeah, thanks for stopping by the stream. It's been a fun one. I feel like I lectured you guys, so I'm sorry for that, but I hope you enjoyed it. And I hope some of my advice was helpful. Food for thought, at least. But yeah, I'll see you guys next time. Thanks for coming by, and have a great night and or day or whatever. Later.